Hello, beautiful wild woman. Welcome back to the Wild Woman podcast. I am your host, Hannah Furore, and I am delighted to welcome you back for episode 4 of this gorgeous audio journey. Here in this space, we are always traveling in the wild woman energy and make moves in pursuit of our depth, truth, and inner wisdom. So I am beyond happy. It's been exactly 7 days since Wild Woman podcast has been launched, and what a cool week it has been for me. At the moment of this recording, there has been way over 120 downloads now across the platforms, mainly Spotify and Apple Podcast obviously are the two main platforms. So I am so happy from wherever you are tuning into. It means the world to me, and thank you again, continuously so grateful for your little messages and feedback and 5-star reviews. So happy for it. And we have people tuning in from literally around the world. Few different countries from Europe, for example, Sweden, Austria, of course, Estonia, my homeland, in many different territories and states from Australia. We even have wild women tuning in from America, Philippines, different corners of the world like that. So this is really, really exciting. Sharing the wild woman vibe, it has been very awesome this week. And I've had some very interesting questions as well. If you think like, what could be the most common question you get when you get a podcast? And I think 2 questions have been the most common. One is, what kind of podcast are you creating? As in, like, are you talking just yourself, or are you getting guests, or what's kind of happening? And the other question I get a lot is like, how time consuming is it? And I think especially the second one is quite surprising, but yeah, women want to know. So let me answer these questions for you. Question number 1, I aim to create as much variety as possible. So I do want to let it flow naturally, but at the moment my goal is just to kind of like speak myself and then create as much as variety as possible. I want to bring guests on. I want to bring my clients on who are willing to speak about their journey, other wild women, maybe from circles, maybe other wild women who are practicing that wild woman energy in their realm and pocket of work. And I want to bring these different textures, maybe even a couple of meditations along the way, something that you can save and always come back to, and have your little selection of meditations, for example. I want to create this as many different textures of sound as possible. And I have a feeling me reading out a couple of my writings in the very near future is also coming very soon. So yeah, feels very lovely, but at the same time I am definitely following my intuition right here and now rather than planning things ahead. And the second question is, how time consuming is it? So it is quite time consuming, let's be honest, because I'm still working it all out as to how to record, what's the best way to record it. It's a bit of a new language for me, new outlet, new channel, new technologies. Of course, it's time consuming. But what I want to say, the most honest answer about this is that the most time consuming thing are always our own attitude. And I have been thinking about it a lot because I'm a firm believer in this flow, this right timing, divine timing. Your own intuition will tell you when is the right timing. And I mentioned this as well on my first episode, that I was waiting for the right timing when everything was ready to go. And once it's ready, it will just flow without having to force it. Because one of my goals in life is to eliminate as much as possible forceful energy. I am very much for challenging myself and giving myself things to work towards too, and not holding myself back when it comes to learning new skills, which can feel quite frustrating at times. But at the same time, I don't want things to feel like I'm pushing and it's just not working. But it's interesting to challenge ourselves, I think, sometimes truly, like, what is this right timing? Maybe time is just time. Maybe time is just what we make it is, and there is no such thing as right or wrong timing. It's just time. It just flows and it's ticking by all the time. And maybe the divine timing is up to us to create. And that's one of those things that is my goal for myself and for the ladies that I work with, is that we are not always waiting on something, and we are taking our power, our energy back to create ourselves this flow that is up to us to guide, that we are the creator of it, that we are the source of this flow. But here's a little thing that comes to mind with it all. We're talking a lot about feminine energy and being in this feminine flow, and we all want it. Like, who doesn't want to feel like life feels like this aligned sequence of just magic, things falling into place perfectly? But I have a feeling, if this is something that you really truly wish for, you might get sometimes to these points of frustration, like, why isn't it happening for me? Just today I scrolled through Facebook very quickly, and people posting in different groups, like, what's happening lately? Not everything is just feels into this flow, feels it's in its flow, things start to break down, the systems break down, the physical things break, and like, what's going on in the energetic realm? And there are these big energies in cosmic, almost like cosmic ways as well, like planets affect us. All of this is true. We are constantly in this massive pool of energy flow. Like, visualize this little speckle in the ocean. That's us. We are the speckle in this massive pool of energetic ocean. But the thing is that very often we put more importance and more weight and more kind of story to these things outside of us, and then we'll expect this flow somehow to happen, that we get to say that we're in this feminine flow. And you most likely have heard people saying that, oh, it's okay, I just let it flow, and it's in this beautiful flow, I'm in this flow, I let things flow naturally. And I speak about it all the time. I'm very much aware that I definitely encourage women to tap into their feminine, and this is in big ways what I teach. But there's still something that feels kind of out of reach, right? So it feels like, well, what am I missing? What is this thing? And very often this rub, or like this angst, or this frustration, or this what am I missing, this piece is very often this realization that we need, like I said, to be the source of this flow as well. And this is where I would like to bring into the conversation the balance between feminine and masculine energies. If you have been in this self-development coaching realm, this self-improvement energetic work realm, even for a second, you most likely have heard both of these terms, feminine and masculine energy, for about 1,000 times. And whether you fully know what they mean, you most likely have a sense, what do they mean for you? So for me personally, feminine energy is this feeler part of a human. This is the being of us. This is who I am at the emotional level and at the very sensitive, vulnerable level. This is that part of me that is constantly changing. This is the waves of the ocean that are never the same. And then there is this masculine side that is more like about the sameness. This is the structures, the systems, the doings, the action, the numbers, the kind of like the scaffolding. So very often there is this metaphor brought to explain the two terms, is there's water in the glass, which is the feminine flow, and then there is this glass around the flow, which is the masculine. I like to much more use the analogy of the ocean and the shoreline. Masculine being the shoreline, and the ocean in the middle is this is the feminine that is constantly in this point of difference. That's never is ocean the same. It's always beautiful, but it's never the same. Sometimes it can be stormy, sometimes it can be dark and threatening, sometimes it can be so beautiful, glossy and soft and velvety. And that's the nature of the feminine. It's always in this constant change. And the shoreline is just there, stable, holding the ocean. The ocean can rage and the shoreline is there in its same peace and absolute calm, this structural sameness of it that is still changing but slowly over time. But the ocean is different literally every second you look. Never one wave is the same as the one before it. So this is for me what's the most simply put, the essence of the feminine and masculine is. But also, if you've been in this realm for a while, or even just for 1 or 2 seconds, you most likely have sensed that there is this bit of a weird dark cloud over the masculine energy. And I guess this is what I want to stop on today a little bit, because it goes into this whole thing that we want to be in this feminine flow. We all want this touch of magic. We want to feel like things are falling into place and there's this beautiful alignment of things. And definitely for us to find this alignment, our feminine energy needs to come into play. We need to find this flow from within, through our emotions, through our intentions, through working through our blockages. It's all emotional. I have always said, and I'm a firm believer, and no one never will convince me otherwise, that human behavior, every single bit of it, is guided by how we want to feel or how we want to avoid feeling. It's all emotional. Every single thing you do, say, every action step you take, every decision you make or don't make is based on some level on your emotions. But now, so if you put this into context of general life, if everything we do is emotional, then how come masculine energy somehow has gotten this bad reputation for us not feeling it, for us not feeling like right in our life? And I completely understand. We're coming out of this era of being very much like focused on everything that is based on numbers and structures and achievements and as accolades. It's easy to measure, easy to compare, has been very much put on the pedestal in the society. But at the same time, when it comes to our own personal life, that's what I want to bring the focus on. It's about us, our inner game, our inner world, our own depth of truth and inner wisdom. Then we can't just go around and always look for these answers from outside. We can see, yes, certain patterns and currents and energies play out, and we are to a degree influenced by it, but we shouldn't forget the fact that we have a right to be the influence in our life. And we actually need to come to this point of, again, self-importance, that we take these reins back and we create this flow from within. And for that, we need to bring both feminine and masculine together. Because until we are actually raising the standards for ourselves and looking very honestly, what have I been doing consciously or unconsciously to create this flow in my life, or created that flow in my life that I don't want? Somehow I am the creator of it all. And that's where our truth and our life can be very confronting, but we can do it. We can do it. We can look into the eyes of ourselves firmly and kindly and gently, but with this curiosity to find the deepest truth, the deepest honesty. And lately I have been doing a lot of that. I have been looking into my own eyes and really soul searching here and really really wanting to be like this raw, honest wild woman that understands where is my flow coming from, and where is these weak spots, where are these weak spots where I can even take charge a little bit more. So I've been very aware and trying to become very aware where I can kind of raise the standard and raise the bar a little bit, because one thing I'm not standing for is us women hiding behind this feminine energy, but at the same time not claiming our power, not claiming our creative powers, not taking action on our ideas, not realizing our gifts, and constantly holding back by something and calling it the feminine flow. This is not the wild woman way. Wild woman doesn't want to hold back and feel satisfied by this pure concept, this feminine flow that we might not even really understand, and not feel satisfied by our own life. Wild woman wants to feel like, I get to be soft, I get to be gentle, I get to be kind and loving, I get to be all roles of my life. But mainly what I get to be is also the boss woman of my life. And this is something that truly satisfies my soul, feeling that I am in charge. I don't need to be in control, because control is something that creates a very different vibe for me personally. But this, I am in charge, I am the boss, I am the CEO of my life. And I'm an independent woman. Yes, I lean on things. I ask for help. I am in this beautiful co-creation with the world, with people around me, with my family, with my friends, with so much that is going on. But when it comes to me, when it comes to my gifts, when it comes to my work, when it comes to my life particularly, I am the driving force behind it. And even more clearly, my emotions are the driving force behind it. So I've been really digging deep, and this has been going on now for years, by the way. I think for past 10 years I've been working on becoming very aware and conscious of like, how am I feeling? Because until I work through like that layers of my mind, the strength of the mind, I wasn't aware how I was feeling on an emotional level. So pretty much I felt out of control, and the anxiety was a result of that, because I just didn't know how I was feeling. Most likely I knew on some level, but only in the mind, but I wasn't actually able to feel things. For example, I've always known that I love my husband, but did I feel truly this warmth in my heart, this opening of my heart, this vulnerability, almost like this ache that, oh my God, I'm so in love. This is very different from this, I know I love you. It's not the same thing. One is this emotionally disconnected version, and the other one is like, I am so open and committed, and I feel it in my heart. This true love that just lights me up and cracks my heart open. It makes me feel vulnerable, but I rather lean in than lean back from this love. It's this feeling in the body that you get to experience your emotions. That's what our life bases on, whether we know or not. But most recently, this feminine flow thing is just kind of bugging me a little bit, and only for the reason that the masculine energy gets a bad reputation over it. But if you really think about it, if everything in our life bases on our emotions, and in that way, kind of feminine energy is calling upon the masculine to execute the things based on how we feel, based on when we feel ready for them, then how come masculine is the one to blame for? It's kind of like everything else in life. It depends on the user. We can't blame, the roads always for safety. It's the drivers as well. We can't always blame the alcohol. It's the people who who are drinking it. It's not always there's certain things that we blame. It's the person who is doing it needs to take the responsibility, and that's a very rare thing in the world, unfortunately. So if you're one of those people who are on this road of self discovery, self development, and you want to get to know yourself, and you want to take this responsibility, you want to truly dig deep and hold all of your life in your hands, and you feel empowered by it, know that you are a very extremely rare individual in this world, because it takes a hell of a lot personal growth. It takes so much awareness. It takes so much courage and bravery to claim yourself as the creator of your own life. So congratulations, wild woman. You are it. You are ready to go, and you are ready to get real, raw and honest with yourself. And one of those points of honesty that I've had with myself lately is, especially past week, I've been really wanting to raise the standard for myself and looking for these ways that where I'm calling I'm in the flow, but actually, nope, I'm just not taking charge. And although in certain areas the flow feels lovely and delicious and yummy, but it becomes forceful somewhere else. And one of those things for me has definitely been my my training, my physical health, my eating habits. These are very earthly, ordinary day things that I have kind of like neglected a little bit. Not neglected, I've been very aware of what I've been doing, but now I got really honest and truthful about it, that I'm not anymore empowered by how my habits have kind of just gone the way they've gone. They've been in this beautiful flow. I've been in this flow, feeling free and treating myself a lot and having a lot of indulgent days. But at the same time, if I would call it flow and kind of let go of the reins and let the wild horse take me where it takes me, all it takes me is to more ice cream, more chocolates. So it's, again, like really looking at it on this very, very daily problem level. Do I want to be in this flow, that call it flow, and actually leave it everything up to chance and really honestly not being happy, satisfied and empowered by it? Or I am tightening up a little bit what I've been doing and calling in that healthy masculine energy and creating a little bit of more awareness, maybe some better habits, which is pretty much this structural energy. Let me tighten things up for myself a little bit, and even the feminine flow then will be better, because I'm not constantly thinking about certain things. I'm not feeling disempowered by myself. I'm not feeling weighed down by my own habits that are with me every single day, since the moment I wake up, since the moment I go to sleep. So this is what I mean when I'm speaking about this true honesty. If you're getting truly, fully honest with yourself, where are you doing disservice for your own time, for your own life, for your own outcomes in life? And yeah, I realized I am not at best service of myself. So my habits at the moment, at the end of the week, look quite different from the beginning of the week. And I have my new platform here, podcasting channel, definitely to thank for that, because as I have more things to do and more things to care for, and I want to always bring the consistency of this energy, this that is not controlled, but it's this creative flow. So there's needs to be a lot of things in my life falling into place, not just by magic, but me organizing them as well. That otherwise there's nothing for universe to respond. It's up to me to provide for the universe to provide. And then I will create this shoreline. I will create this framework. I will carve out time to certain things, book in the clients, and take care of myself, because I am it. I am the CEO of my life. And I need and I want and I desire and crave that masculine energy for this as well. and it's up to me to heal my feminine, so I wouldn't be stuck in this complaining little girl still, who is not maturing into this woman who has taken pride in her talents, in her gifts, taken responsibility for certain outcomes in her life. So that's for me the wild woman energy. She is fierce. She is all of it. She's a full circle of a woman. She is the many archetypes of a woman, but what she is not, she's not someone who's just willing to coast. She gives herself a break, yes. She takes a rest, 100%. She gives herself a moment of just to whine and complain and just eat ice cream, absolutely. But what she also does, she's always awake to her own potential, and she's interested in realizing that potential. And one thing comes to my mind with this, particularly for me on a very personal level. If you don't know me very well, I have a history of being a personal trainer and being very much involved in the bodybuilding world. A few years ago, I was 20 kilos lighter. I looked very different. My days looked very different, and my habits looked very different as well. Obviously, because I was constantly dieting to become a competitor in the fitness world, I was very structured in my life. My food, my training, a lot of the things I was doing was very much in a measurable system. Very restricted calorie counting, very much aware, like how many minutes did I train, what type of training did I did, how many steps I took throughout the day. Everything was this systemized way of living. And as I now speak about it, it's quite wild to actually think what a recent history it is, because I don't know, I can't see myself doing that level of systemized life at the moment. I do want this flow as well, but like I said, I don't want everything to left to absolute this chance that there is no my input to what this flow looks like. But whatever is metaphorically for you that bodybuilding phase where you were kind of like blinded by whatever your goals were, or you weren't very aware of how you are doing as a woman, you were maybe in this constant like hamster wheel of life, and you're just doing, and you don't really understand anymore why you're doing it. Maybe it was a job or a career or a study or a relationship that you knew wasn't meant for you. Whatever this thing you were doing, this chapter you were in, but you weren't still, like, not even 1% of it weren't in this feminine flow. You were only doing. Then you might look back at this phase and feel like, oh my gosh, I will never want to get back to that. And very often we refer back to this as a toxic masculine, that we were in this toxic masculine energy. But most likely when you look back at this phase as well, it wasn't only that the masculine was toxic, it was just the fact that we approached to this, our life at the time, from a very unhealed, forceful, in pain, struggling, stuck, invisible, feminine person as well. That woman was still there, your feminine was still there, but she was really struggling. Most likely she was trying to do the right thing based on the rest of the world. She was trying to prove herself or the rest of the world right or wrong. She was doing things to the best of her knowledge and to the best of her feelings at the time. And that's where we can call, like, kind of like the lack of the feminine, in a way that we don't have the awareness of what the healed feminine could look like, what could be the empowered version of the feminine. Because if the feminine side is the feeler, we are still in the feminine, and I don't think we can ever truly separate the feeling from the doing. There's never, I think, a moment when we are 100% into this, like, only feminine, only feeling and never doing anything at the same time. One is always driven by the other and they both influence each other. Imagine like this infinity symbol. There's this flow, and sometimes, yes, we flow a little bit more on one side, and then on some phases of our life we flow more on the other side of the bubble. But ultimately there is this flow. But the way I see it is the feminine calls upon the masculine. So when you look back on these phases where what you've been calling that I'm coming out of this masculine life, then what the blockage it creates for you now is very often women are scared to call the masculine back. They're scared to call the masculine back, so the feminine flow can become like this bit of a standstill in a way, that now I am holding myself back from realizing my potential and taking my wisdom, my gifts out to the world, because I'm scared to fall back to this type of masculine where I wasn't aware anymore what I was doing. I was just doing for some reason, for some purpose, but I was kind of asleep to myself and I completely lost myself and it didn't feel good. But now, ladies, if you've been on this journey, or if you're wanting to step on this journey, if you need any help healing your emotional wounds, I am here for you. And even if you've been on this journey for a while, your masculine energy will be now so different. You are the captain of the ship. You are now much stronger captain, because you've been the ocean for a while. You've been the shoreline. You have sailed the seas. You've gotten to know the currents of life a little bit. Don't be scared to call in that real boss woman vibe as well. That is the wild woman essence as well. She wants to be in charge. She wants to feel like, I am the boss. This is me. I decide. I am the one who makes moves. I'm the one who provides, and I'm the one who receives what then the universe provides as well. I am the one, and I am important enough to make even little steps towards me realizing my potential. And it's been so beautiful to watch my clients, like sometimes like years later, since they've been in the coaching room with me, they're starting businesses, they're starting families, they're traveling the world. It's incredible to watch. They're just the potential coming to life. And now, not just with this scared energy and feeling like I am always the smallest, most insignificant person in the room. It's more coming from this energy. I am in the room. I am here with these people, and the comparison can fade away. It's not like I'm always this beginner and I'm always this little girl in a room who hasn't quite yet lifted herself out of this little girl status. It's like, no, I am the woman here and I am valuable. I am valuable. My energy is valuable, and adding something, this unique touch to these rooms, to these activities, to these startups, to these ideas, to these things I am doing that are now uniquely mine. And I want to finish with a little personal story. So if you know me at all, I'm very much an advocate for people working out who they are, what they like, what they don't like, and let these things change and come and go all the time in this natural flow of things. But one of those things that I've been very vocal about is that I don't like yoga. And it's been hilarious for people to hear me very passionately speak about why I don't like yoga. And it's interesting because my best friend is a yoga teacher. She owns a yoga studio. I have been to yoga sessions many times. And every now and then, life brings me back to testing out yoga. And now, past week, when I've been raising my standards here for myself, and I've been thinking, Hannah, you deserve to be fit. You deserve to take care of your body. You are the CEO. Let's go. Don't hold yourself back. So I went for a yoga session. But not just a yoga session. I decided to go to try out hot yoga. So again, that might be completely hilarious to you because one of those things I have been complaining a lot about is like how much I don't enjoy this summer heat, especially past few years. I've been quite struggling sometimes with the heat and not too excited for Australian summer being just around the corner, right? So, but I was ready to fully battle for my life in this yoga session, but I went there and it was the most beautiful, awesome, loveliest experience I've had in a long time. And when I walked out of there, I realized so far these yoga sessions that I have been, especially a few years ago, in between, I've been enjoying it a little bit more, but not fallen in love with it. But especially a few years ago, when I was very far from Wild Woman Energy, I went to these yoga sessions, and when they finished, honestly, I felt just ill. I felt like I don't know my own name anymore. Like I wasn't good at all, or like I struggled through the whole session, could not wait until it finishes. I've had many so vividly bad experiences, but the thing is, again, feminine energy is who I am and the masculine energy is the things I'm doing. The person who went to a yoga session years ago was this good girl who tried to do the best, the fastest, the highest, the sharpest, she was competing with who knows who in this yoga session, and she approached everything from this good girl energy that was a bit like this attitude was the biggest deal, right? She brought the attitude, and then she's like, yep, no, I don't like it, but there was no check in with herself. And this time when I went to this yoga session, I went with the Wild Woman energy, that I'm going because I deserve to give myself a chance at things that potentially could be really good for me. But also, I am going to stay very aware of where are my limits, where are my boundaries. I'm going to do this for me in my own energy, forget about everyone else in the room. I'm going to follow the teacher's guidance, but also do what feels completely right for me. Asking permission from my body, checking in, is it okay? Are you still okay to keep going? Like, do you enjoy it? Very different ways of approaching one activity. And that's the thing, my beautiful ladies, my beautiful wild woman, is that the good girl brings the attitude, and then things can take a lot of time for them to progress. So if we come back beautifully full circle since the beginning of this podcast, if you ask for me how time consuming things are and when is the right time, then the right time, the divine timing, is when we are ready. When we are ready, that is the only thing when it comes to divine timing. Yes, the universe responds to us, but what our readiness bases on is our emotions, our readiness to communicate with ourselves, our readiness to be ready for ourselves, our emotions, to have worked through things enough to now be able to truly lean into these certain things we want to do. So again, are we just waiting, or are we actively taking steps so we have something to work with? Very two different approaches to life, to any project you want to bring to life. So when I now look back thinking, was I waiting for a right timing, something external, or was I waiting until I was ready to launch a podcast, for example? I am the creator. I am the one who creates this divine timing with like how I am working things through me. And that's one thing what just lights me up about Wild Woman work, this energy work, emotional healing, mindset work, is that we don't have to wait for something external to come together. The readiness happens within us. The world doesn't just hold things back from us. It waits when we are ready, and we need to claim it, and we need to build this desire and importance that I deserve to work through whatever blockages and things I have, which are very valid. Your emotions are valid. But you also deserve to work through them so you can do the things with freedom and then add them to this flow that you want to create, but not leaving them completely up to chance and then calling it feminine energy and calling the masculine side a bit toxic. No, beautiful inner marriage of both is where actually the flow happens, where you get to do things based on how you feel or the things you want to do, your feelings, your emotional state, and your thoughts align with the things you want to create. That's the beautiful sweet spot, and it's been beautiful to reflect on this based on this interesting, very personal example for me, the yoga thing, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm still a big advocate of working out what are the things you like and you don't like and you owning them, but also let them change. Don't let them limit you. Don't let them become this thing that is now something you need to hold on to, or something that is completely set in stone. So I am still going to test this out, and I'm not scared to kind of like eat my own words here or contradict myself. No, I'm not constantly scared to step on my own toes here and just do whatever I want to do in the day. So yeah, that's where my mind has been lately, and that's where my inner search has been, with this complete and utter honesty. And that's how our honesty gets to be a this inner guidance, this compass, this system within ourselves, that when we sail these seas of life, then we know where we're going, and we know where we need to course correct a little bit. If you get truly honest with yourself, what is empowering or what saps your energy a little bit more. And yeah, for me, definitely it was my habits. I want to be not just functioning, but performing well. This what fires me up, me feeling so satisfied, because you know what? I've never complained about a day where I've gotten a lot of things done in my fully masculine, just smashing things done and going to bed with this like, oh, I feel so satisfied. It was so good to get stuff done. The masculine has never been for me the problem. It's been the feminine who's been struggling and holding herself back and hiding away and still feeling invisible like a little kid. So it was up to me and my wild woman to help the little kid out, help the emotions out, hold space for these emotions. That's what the healing is for. That is the inner work. And then let the masculine just soar. Let both of these beautifully dance together. It takes two to tango. Don't be scared of the masculine. He's there. Like let him get stuff done, right? This is the wild woman vibe. Like I said in the last episode, she dreams to get stuff done. She dreams about this satisfying aligned life. The alignment happens in the balance of what is the right balance for you today. And it's in constant change. It's in constant change, this beautiful flow between the ocean and the shoreline. And the ocean is never scared being too strong for the shoreline. And the shoreline, don't worry about being too weak for the ocean inside of it as well. You are both. You get to hold both. And you get to be the one who creates this flow. You get to be the one who is the source of your life. Thank you so much, Wild Woman, for tuning in again into this beautiful sacred space. I am so grateful for you traveling with me in this Wild Woman energy. I'm sending you much love, and if it feels right, hit the 5 stars, get in touch with me, let me know how you've been enjoying this episode so far, and wishing you the greatest, most beautiful time flowing between your feminine and masculine energies.